Well, as you guys can most definitely tell, one, it looks like I'm dying. That's because it's a Monday morning. And two, I got a little bit of sun this weekend. I got my first sunburn and it's always just so dumb. It's always right on the nose, doesn't look good, and it was totally unintentional. I was just outside all weekend. It was sunny. It happens. And I was wearing, let me see, how much SPF is in this? Oh, I guess there's no SPF in my foundation, which is normally a good thing because I don't like SPF because of the, what's it called, like the flashback when you're taking flash photography and then all of a sudden you look white. Hate that. So I guess I intentionally get foundation without SPF in it. This is the Laura Mercier Silk Cream Oil-Free Foundation. But I guess in the summertime, yeah, it's going to be good to switch to the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer. At least has SPF 20 in it. Regardless, it was a fun weekend and my mom was actually in town. It was a lot of fun and it was really nice to have her here because, as you guys know, with the pandemic and with my work, I really just have not seen my family in like almost 2 years. I mean, it's insane, and I haven't been home since not the past holidays, but the holidays the year before that. So we just had so much fun in downtown Cincinnati, just going out. My dad, however, did not come. He will really only come to visit my brother and me if we are moving. Like, his only time he will ever visit us is if he's like doing something, like, okay, yeah, I'll help you move, which is awesome. What more could I ask for? That he will always be there for me when I need to move. But other than that, my mom asked him if he wanted to come and he said no, which was not surprising. He hates missing work. I've never met a human in my life who hates it so much, and he just will not leave. And the really exciting thing is that I am going home in, what is it? I am going home in a month. I am so excited. You guys have no idea. I'm excited for so many things. First of all, just to be with my family. Second of all, to see some friends. Third of all, to be in the house that I grew up in that I have not been back in a year and a half. Like, that's just gonna be amazing. Also got to meet my mom's new dog. So excited for that. And then honestly, quite possibly more than anything, not really, but quite possibly, I just want to sleep. I need to sleep. Like, I am reaching a breaking point over here where I'm just exhausted. I'm just like permanently exhausted, and I just need like one full week of sleep where I'm just getting a solid at least 8 hours a night. It's just all I care about right now. I feel like I need to put extra foundation on my nose. The viewers can't know I got burnt. Not you guys, obviously. The local 12 viewers when I go on air. Okay. This has been the unlucky part of the morning. Just non-stop rain that you could see on my windshield. But this right here is the lucky part. Guys, we found shelter. Our story is in front of a pizza place, and it just so happens they have this sheltered area, and so we have not been getting wet all morning, and it's just, you love to see it on a Monday morning. And then I did not end up vlogging for the rest of the day because I'm just gonna put it bluntly, yesterday was awful. And I don't even want to use that word. Like, I don't even want to say it was awful because my day was sunshine and rainbows compared to how it was for other people who I'll be telling you about in a second. But first, I'll back up a bit. You guys saw I was at a pizza place for my early morning live shots. My last one was like around 7:45. Took me about 30 minutes to get home. And then before I even kicked off my boots, I got a text from my assignment manager telling me I had to go to an officer-involved shooting. One person was dead. And the thing with this is we did not know the exact address. And so I kind of just had to go to a general area, not really knowing much. And I didn't even realize this at the time. There would be no crime scene, there would be no crime tape because the shooting actually happened the night before. So everything was wrapped up. It's not like we're, oh, okay, I can go and find the flashing lights. I can, see the police cruisers outside. Like, we really didn't know where it was, and officials had not released an exact address. So I went straight to the police department and I asked them, hey, can you give me any information at all? And they essentially told me no, but they were gonna be sending out a press release within the hour. At this point, I was assigned to do a live shot on this at noon, and I had zero information other than one person was dead and we know a police officer had shot that person. I waited in my car for probably about an hour and a half. I was just working ahead for the next day, trying to get all my information for the election, which that's today. And then finally we got a press release telling us what happened with not the exact address, but just kind of like the street where it happened. And we pretty much just had to go door knocking to figure out where it happened and the details. Although the press release did tell us that police received calls about a man who was threatening to hurt himself and he had a gun. And they say he actually fired the gun while he was inside his home. When police got there, they say he came out of the home with his gun, pointed at officers, and that is when they shot him and he died. So this is what I knew going into the situation, but I did not know which house it happened at, and so we started knocking on doors, which as a reporter is probably for everyone the most dreaded part of the process. When you're knocking on doors, especially with a story like this, it's not a good situation. It's not a happy story. It's sad, and selfishly, I mean, I guess it's not selfish, but just in my own perspective, I don't know who is going to be on the other side of that door. It's scary. You know, I'm with my photographer, so I'm not alone, but it's still scary. You don't know who's going to be on the other side of that door, and you don't know what they're going to be like. So the first door I knocked on, the man was actually kind and helpful and filled us in a little bit more on the situation. The next door I knocked on, a woman was about to tell me what happened when all of a sudden I noticed at the corner of my eye another woman coming out of a home next door. Little did I know that was the home where this actually happened. It was the home of the man who was shot dead. And the woman kind of like, she didn't run up to me, but she was walking very briskly and said, "Who are you?" And I told her I'm Clancy Burke with Local 12. And she said, "We don't want to talk to you." And she told the woman who had been talking to me to get inside, and she said she would explain to her in a second, you know, understandably. So as it turns out, this was, I believe, the daughter-in-law of the man who was shot dead. And of course, I left, was totally respectful, and I totally get it. Like, I get why she wouldn't want to talk to me. Like, I always say when I arrive at fire scenes or any type of scene, I understand when people are mean to me or curt with me. You know, I get it. You're going through one of the worst days of your life, and here I am with a microphone like that. It's the least favorite part about my job. It's something I don't like. It comes with the job. I understand why I have to do it, but I will never, ever like it. I ended up interviewing another neighbor, and as I was writing my script for noon and logging that sound, my photographer and a photographer from another station were just getting video of the street and the house, which is just standard. You know, it's kind of just their job, getting video of the crime scene. And the family ended up coming out and screaming at them. They were very, very angry. Obviously, they wanted us to leave, and it was just a really, really bad situation because I can't tell you how much I don't blame them. And I just wish they knew I don't want to be there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I don't show up to these scenes like with like, oh my gosh, I'm like so excited to cover this. I'm so excited to get the scoop. Like, that's not it. And I get it when you see like the Local 12 news truck, when you see the microphone, when you see me, it probably looks like that, but it's not like that at all. I felt horrible. I felt horrible for being there. I felt horrible for the situation. Regardless of what happened, these people lost a member of their family. Doesn't matter who's at fault. You lose a member of your family, that's awful. And it's just one of the parts of being a reporter that comes with the job. And I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this, but it's going to happen. You're going to come across people who are very angry with you. And regardless of the fact that you know it's your job and you're not trying to be mean or insensitive or invasive, it can come across that way. The one thing about this job though is that as quickly as awful situations might happen or you might have awful days, boom, you move right on to the next day. Like, it is so like go, 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 where today it's election day, and that was my story this morning, and that is what I was covering, and you move on. And that's what you have to do in order to make it through. If you don't, if you keep thinking about the day before, I don't know how you would get through it. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Wow, it is thundering so much, and it's just been downpouring. This right here is my little dungeon setup when Zach is working from home, which, as you guys know, he has been working from home. But some very exciting news, guys, as I saunter outside. Boom! We have a Zach-free apartment today, which, Zach, if you're watching this, I don't really mean that, love you, but he actually went into the office today, so as you can see, I can just run around. I don't have to be quiet anymore. It is just a party. But as much as I joke around about it being, whoa, lightning. But as much as I joke around about it being a party when Zach isn't here, oh my gosh, this lightning is insane. Or that's not lightning, that's thunder. No, but I really do enjoy having Zach here, and it's gonna be so weird when we go back to work. Like, not having him here, we've been doing this for a year, just kind of like two pals. He sits, where does he sit? He sits there, I sit, where is it? Okay, I feel like this is like a meteorologist when you first get into it and everything's like opposite on the green screen. Clancy, come on. Okay, I sit there. Yes. And is anyone else slightly concerned about now adjusting back to normal? Like, we had our new normal, which was jarring at first, but now I'm used to that, and now I feel like it's gonna be such an adjustment just going back to how life was. It's so weird. Even just walking around without masks, which, by the way, in one of my last vlogs, I said as a joke, I wanna wear masks forever, and I hope the mask mandate never ends. Guys, come on, like, do people really not get humor? Obviously, I want the mask mandate to end. Like, I'm not like out here trying to create a campaign to make the mask mandate last longer. I was just making a joke about the fact that I like not having to, you know, show my face and wear makeup and stuff. But it was a joke. And you know what? While we're at it, talking about some of my haters, I want to talk about a supporter, because I pretty much, on like every single photo I post, not every single one, but on a lot of photos, people will make a reference about me either being pregnant or fat. The people who write that I'm pregnant are passively aggressively calling me fat, and the people who write that I'm fat are just calling me fat. But like, it's so weird. It's always like these old men. I'm not trying to be, you know, I'm not trying to be judgmental of the age group, but it always is. And it's just, it gets old. It really, really does. So the other day I got one of my classic comments that I'm now used to seeing, and one of my followers on Facebook jumped into my defense. So a shout out to this gal right here. I'm putting it up on the screen. That means a lot. That really does mean a lot. And I don't know, I feel like, honestly, the more bad comments you get about something, the less it affects you. If I were just to get like one or two, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what? But like, when you get so many people saying the same thing, it's almost just like, oh, cool. I guess keep them coming. I don't know.
I keep thinking that I could have done something, but now I'm left with an empty heart. No making amends, no waking up beside you and holding you till we forget it all. How could I know there was no second chances, like dominoes?
All right, it looks like this rainy day is finally going to pay off, because this is what my bedroom looks like now.
Frostbite's creeping in.
And this is what it looks like after. You would seriously think it is nighttime in here, and oh my gosh, there's just nothing better than a rainy afternoon, because that means nap time is just best time. As a reporter, there are some stories you fight for, that you want, and this is one of those stories, and this right here is why. Oh yes, we have got the food. We already knew I was the best girlfriend ever, but this right here is just some added confirmation, because I was covering Asian Food Week this morning, and that means Zach is flourishing.
Yeah, flourishing.
I think I meant to say benefiting.
Yeah, I'm very appreciative that Clancy brought me home lunch from Lalo, one of my favorite places to eat downtown.
I've talked about it before on my channel that with this job, especially mornings, you get offered a lot of free stuff. And I don't mean like anything crazy, I mean free food basically when I'm doing these food segments. And I never accept it. Ever. And it's always like an awkward moment in the morning when they're like, oh, like, let's pack this up and you can take it home. And I'm like, oh, no, thank you, that's okay. And then they're like, we're just gonna throw it away. And I already said no, and I feel weird. I don't know, like, I just feel so awkward accepting it. Like, I don't want them to think I'm arranging these interviews for free things. Like, there's just something about accepting it that I cannot do for the life of me. It just feels wrong. I don't know. It's obviously not. And by the way, the rules are you're allowed to accept, you know, a free sandwich as a TV news reporter. That's nothing. I think it's like if the value is above $25 or $30, that gets into dicey territory, because that's like pay for play. Like, they could be giving you free things and gifting you things to get on TV. Like, so that's where it gets, you know, dicey. But obviously, if it's just like a free meal that they're about to throw out, as a reporter, you're allowed to accept that. However, I have a weird problem where I can't. But finally today, for whatever reason, I was just like, oh yeah, sure, like I'll take it home. And you know what it was? The chef was like, oh please, like I love doing this for people, like I made this for you. And I was like, oh sure. Can I just tell you, it was so much more natural and less uncomfortable than when I say no. Like, I can't explain it. It looked like he was genuinely happy to be giving it to me. It's making me realize, like, I don't know. Zach, what are your thoughts? You were kind of telling me before how awkward I am.
I've told you this for a long time, how awkward you are. Kidding, but not really. Especially at restaurants, just in general.
What do you mean?
You're always weird, or not weird, but your interaction with our waiter or waitresses are always awkward. And early days, I was like, well, maybe it's just the waiter or waitress. But there's only one common denominator.
What do you think it is?
You?
I think it's because of the allergies, to be honest.
I think at times your food orders can just make it weird because you'll be like,
Yeah, I'll take the chicken club sandwich, please. No cheese, bacon, mayonnaise, onion, tomato.
I love tomatoes.
I know, but like it's an awkward, like, so you just want chicken and lettuce or whatever. You and waitresses are just weird towards each other. And not mean. Let's definitely make that clear, because that's the worst. If you're rude at restaurants, I've always said this, you're rude at restaurants and to the people, like, you're the worst kind of person.
I have never in my entire life been rude to an employee of any place. I'm not kidding. Never, ever would I ever be.
But no, and I've always said, when you go out on stories, so again, we got on the sidetrack, but like when you go out on stories, that the people would want you to take like that as like validation to them that you were excited to be there. They cooked food, like if there's 8 meals like they're displaying, or I'm not saying there's always 8 meals, but if there's like 5 meals, like they're not just gonna like at 5 in the morning, like they're not just gonna like eat 5 dinners like between, so they're just gonna throw it away because they made it for the news. So it would always be the better, and yeah, you don't want to be like, yeah, give me all 5, I'm gonna stack them up and run, like, see you later guys. Like, don't do that. But like, for sure, like, just think if it were yourself. I always put myself in that situation where if I were the person making the food, I would want like you to take it. It's just obvious to me that would be the better way to go about it, but you don't.
It's funny though, and I always think this, like, how much you can misinterpret someone. And I feel like I am someone who's probably just so misinterpreted, because there's that one instance where it's that always awkward interaction of like, oh no, thank you, I don't want the food. And like, I might be coming across like I think the food is gross, or like I'm rude, but really I just don't want them to think I'm like greedy, or I don't know, like it's just this weird thing in my head. The other thing that I feel like has been a constant problem in my life, I'm the type of person, if I see someone like out on the streets, like this was really in college, if I was passing someone, I actually tend to not really say hello or wave. And it's not because I'm not friendly, it's simply because in my mind I'm thinking, oh, they're not gonna know who I am. Like, I'm so insignificant to them, they won't remember me. I feel like there's so many people who even like would come up to me at the bars and be like, I saw you today, you didn't like say hi. And I might come across as rude or like standoffish, and it's the opposite. I'm just like, oh, like there's no way they would remember me. Because there are also some people who do it the other way and they think like everyone knows who they are, and it's like, pal, we had like one conversation, like, I don't know. Anyway, it's just, this has inspired me, this right here inspired me to maybe not be such a weirdo and accept people's kindness. I also really wanted to talk about the hate that the Asian community has experienced this year because of the pandemic, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know about. A lot of people, because the coronavirus originated in China, Asian Americans who have absolutely nothing to do with the pandemic in the slightest sense, have received a lot of hate. There have been a lot of Asian hate crimes, and it is so insane, and it is so infuriating.
It's been challenging for the overall Asian community.
And I actually just finished such a good book. I recommend it to every single one of you. It's called Small Great Things by Jodi Picoult. If that's even how you pronounce her name, I feel like I've never heard anyone say it, but that's how I say it in my head. And it touches on racism. And when I say it touches on racism, it pretty much revolves around racism. It's about a black nurse who is assigned to a baby in the labor and delivery unit. The baby had already been delivered, and little did she know, the parents were white supremacists. So they said, you cannot touch our baby under any circumstances, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward maybe a day, and the baby almost dies, and Ruth has to make the decision, do I save it, do I not? And then the parents ended up accusing her of murder. The baby didn't make it. So it was this whole thing, and it's like, I feel like whenever I talk about race or anything to do with that, there's always some kind of pushback. There's always something I say wrong. There's always just, why are you talking about that? You know, you're a white girl. It's like there's always something. And even yesterday, I tweeted out one of the passages from the book. One of the characters asked, do you think there will ever be a time when racism doesn't exist? And another said no, because that means white people would have to buy into being equal. Who would choose to dismantle the system that makes them special? And I just found that like so interesting as someone who was not educated on this, really. as a kid. I mean, I was educated to an extent, and my mom did such a good job of teaching me that everyone was equal. I mean, I remember her showing me movies. I remember one on the Disney Channel, I think it was called like The Color of Friendship, and she made me sit down and watch it. She also made me watch Ruby Bridges, a movie where Ruby Bridges was going into the segregated schools for the first time. So yes, I certainly grew up with that knowledge and the loving heart thanks to my parents who raised me, but there's still so much that I don't know and that I'm not educated on. It's a tough conversation to have because I tweeted that passage yesterday and immediately my mom texted me saying like, oh my gosh, like did you really put that on Twitter? And I was kind of just like, what? Like there's nothing wrong with what I said. And she just wrote, race tweets make me nervous. And that's because so many people just go crazy on this topic. And yes, there were people who tweeted me saying like, why? Like, what are you doing? Like angry about the tweet. But here's the thing, like, I don't care. What I'm tweeting is not wrong. What I am saying is not wrong. I think it's so important to have these conversations, to admit when you don't know something, and to keep on learning and to like keep talking about it because yeah, racism exists all around us. And I don't know, it's something that's really tough. It's just been a really tough thing to talk about publicly, and I feel like it's always going to be that way, but I think it's so important to keep educating ourselves and to keep having these conversations. Also, I hate how I don't have this book to hold up because I borrowed it from the library on my Kindle, and that's the only bad thing about Kindle is not having like the books to hold up and show you guys, but guys, Kindle. I feel like the only people who don't like Kindles are the people who haven't tried it. Because I was like that. I was like, oh no, I need the hard copy, like I need the actual book. No, Kindle is where it's at. If you guys have any book recommendations, definitely. What? Are you eating the wontons? Okay, Zach's crunches can be heard from like a world away. You liking the wontons? Or is that even what they're called?
I think so. I'm not in a place to correct you or not. Nothing better.
We are waiting for the crunch. Oh yeah. This reminds me when you were eating that donut on camera. That was so cute.
And that is like traditional cinnamon, big time good. Like, cheers. This is not part of the diet.
As I was saying before, let me know if you have any book recommendations. Comment down below. I really like everything. Like right now I'm reading Giselle, how do I pronounce her last name? It's Tom Brady's wife, Giselle Bundchen, but I don't know. But it's a good book so far. It's about her life and lessons she's learned. It's called Lessons. So I love autobiographies. I love nonfiction, just random. Like I really love thrillers. That's my thing. The one thing I don't really like self-help books. Like no. I feel like I like getting like the self-help and the motivational thing from autobiographies and just from people's lessons in life. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. I'm gonna go. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.